we are going to practice all of the angle relationships we have when we have two parallel lines cut by a transversal. Very important that we write down the geometry fact. So the first thing I would like you to do is to take a look at the angles given, and you have that yellow reference sheet that you could see to take a peek at what geometry fact I have. Now remember, my interior angles are going to be within my parallel lines. My exterior angles are outside those parallel lines. So when I take a look at this, I'm going to notice I have two exterior angles. They are on either side of the transversal, so therefore they are going to be called my alternate exterior angles. So you're going to write that down as your geometry fact. And I know my alternate exterior angles are always going to be congruent to each other. So now I'm going to write down my equation. 3x plus 20 is going to equal 5x minus 10. When you go to solve this, again, you can make your railroad tracks, get your variables to one side, and you're going to have 2x minus 10 is equal to 20, add 10 to both sides, 2x is equal to 30, divide both sides by 2, and we get an answer of x is equal to 15. Now, I'm not quite done. What I have to do now is substitute that back in. So 3 times 15 plus 20 is going to give me 65. So that angle measure is 65. 5 times 15 minus 10 is going to give me 75 minus 10, which again is 65. And sure enough, both those angles are of equal measure, so I did this problem correctly. Now when I look at angle number 2, again I'm looking and I'm within my parallel lines. So I'm going to have interior angles. They are both on opposite sides of that transversal. So my geometry fact here is I have alternate interior angles. And we learned that with alternate interior angles, they too are also congruent. So we're going to write that out. Now I'm going to write out my equation. 3x plus 45 is equal to 6x minus 30. And again, please get your variables to one side. And I'm going to have 3x minus 30 is equal to 45. Add my 30 to both sides. I get 75 to equal 3x, divide both sides by 3. And I get x to equal 25. Again, you're going to box in the value for x and now substitute back into your equation. Into your expression, 6 times 25 minus 30 is going to give me 125. 3 times 25 plus 40, 120. 6 times 25 minus 30 is 120. And then 3 times 25 plus 45, again, gives me the 120. And they are equal in measure. Now I take a look at number 3, and here I have one exterior angle and one interior angle. So I have to think of a different relationship that I have between them. But what I do notice is, boom, I do have what I call angles on a line. So I know that any two angles that form a straight line equal 180 degrees. Angles on a line equals 180 degrees. We learned that last year in 7th grade. This year we've been calling them linear pairs. It is the same exact thing. I'm putting both terminologies down here just so we get used to it. So I know that 3x plus 35 plus 4x plus 5 has to now equal the 180 degrees. So when you combine your like terms, 7x plus 40 is equal to 180 degrees. Subtract 40 from both sides. I get 7x to equal 140. Divide both sides by 7. X is equal to 20. When I substitute that back into my equation, 4 times 20 plus 5 is 85. 3 times 20 plus 35 is 95. Let us do our check. 95 plus 85, do I get 180? And I do. So I know that that is correct. When I take a look at number 4, again, you have to look for a geometry fact. And these angles are across from each other. They form what I call those V's. vertical angles are directly across from each other, and I know with vertical angles, they too are congruent. So my geometry fact, 4x plus 20 is going to equal 6x minus 10. Again, we're going to move our variables to one side. I have 20 to equal 2x minus 10. Add 10 to both sides. 30 is equal to 2x. Divide both sides by 2. And I get x to equal 15. When I substitute this into my expressions, 4 times 15 plus 20, I get 80. 6 times 15 minus 10, again, I get 80. And those two angles are congruent. One last one that I will be going through with you right now. Again, you're going to look at your diagram, and you're going to think, oh, the 5x minus 30 is an exterior angle. The 2x plus 30 is an interior angle. Let's think of another relationship. They happen to both be in what I call that same position. 5x minus 30 is on top of the parallel line to the left of the transversal, and so is 2x plus 30. Same position means I have what I call corresponding angles. And I know corresponding angles are always going to be equal in measure. Those are congruent. So my equation that I'm going to set up, 5x minus 30, is going to equal 2x plus 30. Bring your variables to one side. 3x minus 30 equals 30. Add 30 to both sides. I get 3x to equal 60. Divide both sides by 3. And I get x to equal 20. Now again, we need to substitute that in. 5 times 20 minus 30 is going to give me 70. 2 times 20 plus 30 gives me the 70. And those angle measures are congruent. Please take your time, very important with the geometry facts. That is what is going to get you to figure out the equation you have to write. Thank you.